Hi guys, my name's Tony Gray and welcome to week 6 of these weekly lessons. I just want to thank everybody so much so far for all the positive feedback and love. You know, just all that positive energy really helps me keep doing these things. You know, it takes a little bit of work to prepare all of the documents and the tracks, and I'm really glad to do it. But your participation and general positive feedback really helps me and encourages me to keep doing it. So again, thank you, and please join our mailing list if you haven't done so already, and just help spread the word, and let's just keep growing and learning together. And of course, as always, if you have any suggestions on lessons that you want me to teach, then go ahead and enter them into the comment area and I'll be glad to do them. So for this week's lesson, we're going to be looking at a bebop approach to chord tone. Now you can hear this technique in tons and tons of classic bebop solos from all the masters. So I just want to quickly touch upon this in this lesson. We're going to be doing it over a dominant 7 chord, and the approach is going to be a scale degree above to chord tone. Now nothing spells out harmony better than the chord tones. So what we really want to be doing, or what we want to be aiming for, is being able to really internalize these chord tones, be able to hear them, how they function within the chord, and then find different ways of dressing them up and kind of dancing around them. So this is a really good technique, or a really good exercise for you to kind of get started with this if you're not familiar with this approach concept. Okay, this scale that we're going to be using from our scale degree above is going to be the Mixolydian. So I'm just going to quickly play a Mixolydian scale now and just show you a quick fingering pattern. There are tons of lessons and courses on the modes inside the Tony Gray Bass Academy, but for now I'm just going to show you a quick fingering pattern to get you started, to give you some idea of what we're doing. Okay, so if we're playing the C Mixolydian scale, it's the 5th mode of the F major modes, and if we start on the 8th fret here of the E string and just play the fingering pattern in all one position, 2 4 1 2 4, and then D string 1 2 4, and it's the same descending. So that's where we're going to derive our notes from over a C7 chord. Okay, and like I said, it's a scale degree above, so all we're going to do is locate the chord tones, which is C, E, G and B flat, and then just play a scale degree above from that Mixolydian scale. So it's D, C, F, E, A, G, and then C, B flat. So it's a good idea when you're practicing this stuff to have some kind of sustained chord playing in the background. You know, it really helps internalize it, it helps train your ears and just gives you a lot more creative ideas, and you know, it's just something to reference what you're doing against. So here's a sustained C7 chord, and you can find these chords in the Tony Gray Bass Academy. Just join our mailing list. There's a ton of cool stuff for you to download, and these sustained chords is one of them. So here's a sustained C7 chord. Okay, now here's the approach to chord tone. Okay, you can hear that the sustained chord really helps. So the first thing I want you to do is, once you understand what the notes are, I want you to play them across single strings. So first I want you to play it across an E string. So you'd start from the lowest approach pattern, which would be on the 4-string bass, an F to E. Then Then you move up to the A to G, then the C to B flat, then the D to C, and continue. Once you've reached the highest position you can go, start descending. Now continue without stopping on the A string, so the lowest approach would be a C to B flat. Continue in order. D string. And then G string. And beyond if you have more strings than that. So the purpose of doing it on a single string is it just kind of takes you out of those fingering patterns. You know, we always get locked in when we're playing bass guitar or guitar in general to these muscle memory fingering patterns, and it's really easy to kind of get caught up in all of that, where you stop hearing the exercise but you start just relying on the muscle memory. So what the single string stuff does is it really helps you internalize the sound of the approach pattern in your ears, because you're not really relying on any muscle memory here. It also kind of unlocks areas of the fingerboard that you might not be that familiar with, so it's going to kind of unearth some problem areas. But what I want you to do is just be able to play through the whole range of your instrument, 4 strings, 6 strings, whatever you have, without making any mistakes. If you make a mistake, just start on the lowest string and just repeat until you can get through the whole exercise. And once you've done that, move on to every single dominant 7 chord. So we basically go from C7 to F7, B flat 7, E flat 7, A flat 7, D flat 7, F sharp 7, B7, E7, A7, D7 and G7. So all 12 keys. I want you to do this single string exercise. Okay, once you're comfortable with that, I want you to put back on the C7 sustained chord and just kind of treat one chord at a time, and just kind of move away from the single string and just start moving freely around the instrument. You can change up the order which you play the notes in, just find some sequential patterns. You're going to find some examples in the document, but just try to be musical. Don't worry about a metronome for now or a drum machine. Just kind of get familiar with the pattern, embed it into your ears, and just start trying to find these fluency patterns and just try to make some music with the concept. So here's the C7 chord again. Just play around the whole instrument. Okay, and once you're comfortable with that, we're going to move on to the last concept. So I've also uploaded an MP3 for you to download. It's a cycle 5 progression of dominant 7 chords that move through all 12 keys. Now, if you're not that familiar with the cycle of fifths and you want to know more, there are tons of courses on harmony, fundamental harmony, from beginner to advanced in the Tony Gray Bass Academy. But for now, basically a cycle 5 progression is where the chord moves down in intervals of a perfect fifth. So it would be 2 bars of C7, 2 bars of F7, B flat 7, E flat 7 throughout all 12 keys. Okay, so the first time around the progression, it's 2 times around and the tempo is 120 BPM. So the first time around, I just want you to focus on only playing the approach pattern. Okay, don't try to be musical, don't leave any spaces, just play straight through all over the instrument, just playing this scale approach to chord tone. Now the second time around, you can start being more musical, leave some spaces, take other musical ideas, start mixing ideas with the Mixolydian scale, but just always kind of keeping that approach pattern as your main focus. Okay, so here now is 2 times around the cycle. So thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. We're going to see you next week for another lesson. Please spread the word, join our mailing list for tons of free lessons and some goodies to download, and we'll see you next week.